Past Now Read presents another story that needs to be told, entitled Where the Water Turns Blue-Green. Some memories don't fade, they just sink deeper. I was 17 the last summer I went with my family to the Florida Panhandle. I thought I'd grown up, but I hadn't. Not until her. Even now I still wonder if she was real, or just a moment the ocean made for me. We made the pilgrimage every summer, like clockwork. An annual exodus from heat and routine into something lighter, looser. Coastal, Mom packed like we were never coming back, coolers loaded, towels stacked, games nobody played but we brought anyway. Dad loaded the car at dawn, one hand on the wheel, the other fiddling with the radio dial, always chasing the right station that matched the mood of the road ahead. 4 kids, 2 apartments, 12 cousins, and a beach that made everything feel bigger than life. We'd meet Mom's side of the family from New Orleans, voices thick with accent, hugs big and warm, stories louder than the tide. The 2 rental units stood side by side, their doors slamming like punctuation in a long, unruly sentence. We treated the condos like one open house. Doors never locked, rooms rarely empty. Mattresses littered the floors like islands of sleep. Aunts clattered in the kitchen, laughing, bickering, feeding the masses. Cousins collapsed mid-laugh in hallways, beach-crusted and sun-tired. It was chaos. And it was perfect. But that summer felt different. Because I was different. 17 is a strange age, where you're too old for sandcastles but not yet built for anything else. I wandered through those days like a shadow trying to grow into its shape. The others played, paired off, or plotted against each other. I just walked. Each morning I rose before the noise, slipped out in silence, pulled on my trunks and crept down the boardwalk with salt already in the air. There was a striped umbrella I claimed each day, a faded lounge chair facing east, the morning sun curling over the water. It was my church, silent, warm, endless. The surf sang sermons in hushes and roars, and for those few minutes I believed in something. One morning as I eased back into that chair, a beach ball, pink, white, and teal, bounced off my chest and into my lap. I looked up, startled, and time did something strange. She stood before me, tall, blonde, tanned, a sun hat in one hand, the sun in the other, her bikini the same color as her skin, like she was dipped in bronze. "Oh no, that ball's got a mind of its own," she said, breathless from the jog. "Sorry if I interrupted your deep thoughts." I must have looked like I'd forgotten how to speak, because I had. She plopped down in the sand beside me, casually, like we were old friends. There was something completely effortless about her, like she belonged to the moment more than I did. "I'm Sarah, visiting from Michigan. Just a few days left before I have to head back north." She offered a smile that made everything else feel blurry. I managed a nod, held onto the beach ball for dear life, mostly to hide the involuntary way my body betrayed me. She didn't mind the awkward silence, filled it with soft chatter, where she'd been, what she'd seen, stories that sounded like postcards. I listened, or pretended to, but I was really memorizing the way the light caught her collarbone. Then just like that, she stood, brushed the sand from her thighs in one swift motion that felt choreographed by the sea itself. "Come play in the surf?" she asked, turning to me. I shook my head, mortified. "Suit yourself," she said, flashing a half grin. Then she jogged toward the waves, juggling the beach ball above her head. She danced around the tide, never letting the ball hit the water. The sun loved her. The beach bowed to her shadow. I watched her long after she disappeared from sight. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat on the balcony while my cousins played cards, wrote her name in the corner of a half-used notebook. Sarah, over and over. The next morning I was up before even the gulls, claimed the chair again, same umbrella, same breeze, and then I saw her, same beach ball bouncing ahead of her, like it knew the way. She waved. "Coming in today?" she asked, teasing. I lied, said I'd follow soon. She smiled, turned, ran into the surf. She dove in, strong strokes, smooth and purposeful. She looked like she belonged out there, part dolphin, part dream. The ball floated behind her like a loyal friend. I waited. 10 minutes, then 20, then 30. The ball was still out there, but she wasn't. Panic hit me like a rip current. I sprinted to the nearest lifeguard stand, heart racing. My friend, she went into the water a while ago. Blonde, maybe 25, she hasn't come back. The guard just climbing up froze, raised binoculars, scanned. 2 red flags flapped angrily in the breeze behind him. Double red, he said, almost to himself. Water's closed. Rip currents are bad today, even strong swimmers. He didn't finish. He reached for the radio, called it in. The Coast Guard arrived. Boats scanned the horizon. Divers swept the area. They found nothing. No one. No scream. No trace. Except one. That beach ball. Drifting, spinning, alone. I didn't tell anyone. Not my family. Not the cousins. What could I say? That I met a girl? Talked to her for 2 mornings? And now she was gone? That night I sat outside in the sand, wrapped in a towel that couldn't warm me, listened to the hush of waves, and felt a silence too loud to carry. The next day I went back, just in case. Stood knee-deep in the surf until my legs went numb. Nothing. Sarah never came back. Years passed. I grew up, sort of. Got older, definitely. Moved on, mostly. But the beach never let me forget. Even now I return to that stretch of sand some summers. The condos are still there, but newer. The crowd's younger, but the sea's the same. Sometimes I walk early in the morning, watch the tide crawl across the shore like it remembers everything. And sometimes, just sometimes, I see a beach ball out in the water, or a flash of blonde in the surf, and I remember the name, the voice, the shimmer of a dream that smiled at me once. Was she real? I still don't know. I never found her name in a report. Never saw a face on a missing poster. Nothing in the news. Not even a whisper. Maybe she was a ghost, or something older than ghosts. A story the ocean told me for just a moment. Just long enough to crack something open inside. A first love that left no trace but the way my heart stutters when I see blue-green water. The kind of blue-green only found where the land forgets itself. Where salt and sun combine to birth miracles. Where the sky is too wide for regret. I was 17. I thought I was a man. I thought the world could be figured out with the right words or the right muscles. But it took losing someone I never really had to teach me that some moments aren't meant to be understood, only remembered. And every time I see this water, this perfect, impossible blue-green water, I see Sarah, and she sees me. You have been listening to Where the Water Turns Blue-Green, produced and adapted for audio narration by PASTNOWREAD. Stories that need to be told. Follow for more. Please tag with someone who may like stories that need to be told. Thank you. Special thanks to all those condo owners who give up their units to families like mine for our once-a-year pilgrimage.